Hey guys, welcome to the Cup of Nurses podcast with your hosts, Matt Slarchik and Peter from Durham.
What's up?
We are a podcast where we tackle hot nursing topics and current health news, one conversation at a time.
Yes, we do, Matt. What's going on?
How you doing today, Petey?
I'm doing good. Got my coffee. Woke up at noon. Stayed up a little late yesterday. I just started a new TV show, 13 Reasons Why. It actually ties into this now that I think about it. It's about a girl that committed suicide. And it kind of looks at reason why she commit suicide, why she did. And it kind of looks at not one factor, but multiple factors. So she created like 13 tapes, which are 13 reasons of why she committed suicide. And I guess each tape is devoted to another character.
Of her life, of
Yeah.
why she did it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, like character-wise, like a person, like a kid named Steve, did this to me. This is one of the reasons why I committed suicide.
That is pretty cool.
That's pretty interesting, actually.
So guys, whoever listens, thank you. Subscribe on YouTube. Give us a like on IG. We post a lot of things there. Peter's going to be posting videos daily, I heard. So am I. And let's get the show started.
Yep, so episode 30, guys. So today's episode, we're going to talk about something called lifestyle medicine, which focuses on the 6 pillars of more well-being and better health. It kind of bypasses pharmaceuticals and medications, things like that. And then our health news for today is about kids ages 10 to 24, and their suicide has been on the rise. Generation Z is what we call them.
Yep, Generation Z, their suicide increased by 56%, according to the CDC. And they don't have a direct reason why. There's just risk factors for why kids that age could, commit suicide. But I just feel like sometimes it could be just this whole social media thing and all these other factors that are tying into this. Like, why is there such a rise in that generation?
And most definitely, it has a lot of factors, not just one thing that causes all this. Like I said with the TV show that I'm watching before, it's not, people don't commit suicide because of one thing. It's a lot of negative things going on in their life where they can't handle or cope with. And this all just contributes to this episode of, suicide.
Or like a bad coping mechanism amongst themselves, or when they learn from their parents, they get bullied at school. And just like, you go back home and the parents do the same thing. They kind of bully the kid.
Right.
And that low self-esteem could, lead to like self-inflicting wounds.
Exactly. I mean, imagine if you hear that you're fat and dumb over and over again in school. So 8 hours every day, you're hearing like that same concept over and over again. And then you go back home and, you get negative feedback from your parents as well. So eventually all those negative feedbacks, you're going to start believing in what the people are saying just because you hear it so often. So you're thinking, I hear it all the time, maybe it is true. And you got to kind of get yourself out of that bubble and out of that mindset, because people say a lot of nasty things. And with internet, your whole life is online. People could look you up. They could take all the positives you've done in your life and just make it into a negative. And it's very unfortunate that people do this. And these are with kids. So there's 10 and 24-year-olds. A lot of these kids are teenagers or preteens. They don't understand that, hey, what they say and what they do has this big of an impact on an individual. Like social acceptance in high school is huge. You might be wearing different color shoes and people make fun of you,
Right.
Or you might not fit in because everyone's wearing white shoes and then you're wearing gray shoes and people make fun of you because you're gray shoes. Or it's like white shoes Wednesdays, you're not wearing white shoes, and like little things like that where they keep adding on, it just turns you into like a negative mindset and you kind of feel like you're losing control.
And then that cloud goes over your head.
Right. It's more like you're using social acceptance as your way of going through life, and especially like in high school and in teenage years, because that's literally what it is. It's social acceptance.
And then also, because it also covers ages 24, I feel like we as kids, like we were pampered by teachers, and we all get the ribbons, and you're all awesome students, and there's no competition really. And unfortunately, in the world, is kind of Charles Darwin said, survival of the fittest, and it makes a little bit of sense. And they get out of school and they realize that not everybody gets a ribbon, and people get paid differently, and you could get hungry and you got to like kind of hustle for your work, and maybe that reality that they face as well is like a huge risk factor for them.
Exactly. In school, we don't want to make anybody feel bad, so everyone's a winner.
Yep.
But then you get those kids that they feel like they're always winners, and they graduate, they find a job, and they're on the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, why am I not getting these rewards? Well, you're not getting these rewards because when you grow up, you get older, the reward system is different. You get rewarded for making more money. You get really rewarded more for taking more action compared to you can't be on a sideline anymore, like in school,
Hey, Billy, welcome to the Matrix.
That's what I'm saying. It's how life works. Like you gotta so have some kind of compensation for like your actions, and you gotta do good to receive good ultimately. And if you have no motivations to do positive things or things to better you or somebody else, then you're not gonna get rewarded for anything. Like you said, there's a lack of competition, and it's everyone gets like a ribbon or reward for doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and then that this generation is also facing like a lot of like sexual orientation things. Like people are like coming out or they're bi and they're not straight, and now transsexuality is the thing. And imagine that peer pressure. And I think I don't know the statistic, but I know like that sexual orientation, if they're like lesbians or if they're like trans, they have a very high suicide rate because of not being socially accepted.
Right, and it's very sad. Like you would think that, I guess, I feel like the more we move on with this whole like the sexuality thing, it's going to become a norm. It's just like the beginning of things where people are coming out, and it's hard for them to come out because it's such a drastic social change and so out of the norm, where people use that as like weakness, and they kind of work on it to make fun of them and just do things like that. But I feel like as life moves on, that's going to be something normal. It's kind of going to feed out this
Yeah.
system. But unfortunately, these people are the first ones to come out and do all this. So that's why they're getting all that negative feedback.
Yeah, and I hope. The only thing I don't like is it's making men a little bit too soft. But hopefully, men kind of grab themselves by the balls a little bit nowadays.
Well, I mean, there's gonna be soft men and very very alpha men. It's just how life works.
Yeah.
There's room for both in society. You know, you're not gonna have. I mean, you never know. You're not gonna have
I'm
somebody.
just theorizing here.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's room for both. Like most NFL players, they're strong. They're more alpha, but there is sports players that are gay. They're just as athletic. They just have
Right.
different sexual orientation, and that's their kind of choice for their lifestyle. There's not a high percentage of them, but they still do exist, and there's room for all of them. I don't think someone should judge somebody based on what they like,
Their
or things
sex,
like that.
in a
Yeah,
way.
it's just kind of like that's not even my business. Like why would that affect me at all if you think about it?
Yeah.
But I feel like another reason why suicide is on a rise for generation, what is it, X? You said Generation Z.
Z.
Sorry, is because you got that you're in your 20s, so you probably finished in college or on the verge of finishing college, and you have these expectations set by your parents, and especially if your parents push you through, you know, school a certain way. So let's say your class are all geared towards law, so your parents basically want you to be a lawyer, and if you're kind of on the fence about that and it doesn't make you happy, and you still go through it, you're gonna be kind of, you could say, kind of sad for life because you're not gonna enjoy what you're doing. You're gonna make money, yeah, and you're gonna do it just to do it. But the fact that you're not really happy with your career, that's kind of gonna
There's
lead
no
to a downfall,
passion.
right? Or even if you fail, you fail at being a lawyer, you drop out, or you change subjects, and you kind of put your parents down because they wanted you to be this, fancy lawyer, and that makes you feel bad too in general because you feel like you failed your parents. So that's kind of like one of the worst feelings you could have. How many times have you made your mom sad and you're just like, damn, I feel like shit.
Yeah, and it's almost like a guilt trip too because we're kind of the burden of our parents in a way. If you think about it, like in a psychological level, and I don't want to get into it,
Mm.
but if um, whatever the shortcomings of your parents were, then they're gonna try to implement those shortcomings on you, and they're gonna try to live through you if you fulfill what they couldn't, and that kind of forces a kid to something they don't want to do. And I think maybe not as much as an American culture, but someone like that, Asian cultures and
Mm.
things like that, they really push their kids to be the best and the top, and they're doctors and lawyers, and not everybody likes that. Money is not happiness technically, but it is.
Yeah, that's true. It's not fully the parents' fault because they want the best from their kid because they believe that, hey, if my kid is successful, he's gonna be happy, and the best way for him to be successful in my eyes is to become a lawyer or a physician. So I'm gonna push my kid in that aspect, even though the kid not might like it. The parents usually think that it's for the good, for the better, that they'll learn to like it because it's gonna pay off in the long run. But like Matt said, it's not always about money. It's not always about status that makes you happy.
True. This is an awesome topic. We could probably dig down more. That's why you probably need a Patreon account and start having some side content for people that are really, they want to see us just kind of talk a little bit more and talk some shit or, off the air in a way.
Yeah. Well, real quick, we can touch upon this, but how's your travel going? Did you find anything?
Good. So I've been keeping this under the water. I'm coming out of the closet here, guys, and I'm finally putting in my 2 weeks at my hospital that I'm at, and I'm going to start travel nursing in November. So I'm super excited about that.
You know where you're going?
San Diego. So don't look for me there, but if you do, say hello. And if you want to see exactly kind of what I'm doing or how my life is in San Diego, just check me out on Instagram at Matt's Mindset.
Yeah, it's very nice. So why did you decide to do travel nursing again? Is it just because of the weather?
The weather, so it's winter here and I could avoid the winter. And plus, I'm a little bit unsatisfied in my job. Hopefully, my director's not listening to this because I told her my podcast. There's just a turnover rate, and there's a hospital merger between Amida and Presence, and there's a lot of corporate things happening. People are unsatisfied. I was supposed to get my raise in October, and they're not going to give it to us till January because of the merger. Like, there's just a lot of things, and even like because of the merger, people are buying like shittier equipment, and I'm starting to realize all this, and it's creating unhappiness at work. And I used to go to work and I used to kind of be a little bit happy and like to come in because of my coworkers and our energy levels. And now that kind of disappeared. And every single day there's negativity. People are talking about A, B, and C. And that environment's not for me anymore.
Yeah, that's it's good because if you stay in that environment and you keep hating your job, hating your life, you're not gonna want to work there. And then if you have no motivation, that kind of takes it onto the patient
Yeah.
as well.
And I asked some nurses too, like, why are you still here? Those that have been there longer for me. And they say comfort. So comfort's a real thing, man. We don't like change and we don't like updating our resumes. We don't like applying for new jobs. It sucks, let's face it. But sometimes change is good.
Are those nurses that you asked, do they have families? Or are they like single?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both.
Yeah, because I mean, once you got a family going, it's kind of different. You kind of put your needs a little bit off
Yeah.
to the side, and you kind of got to work for more for your kids. But you could still change.
And it's only 3 days a week, like, yeah, comfort's a big thing, man. And you have to be self-aware to see it. But yeah, man, I'm excited for it.
Good, happy for you.
Thanks. So we're going to talk about lifestyle medication or lifestyle medicine next. And what lifestyle medicine is, it's an evidence-based approach to treating and preventing diseases and reversing them. Because in the hospitals, almost 80% of the diseases that we see are completely reversible if we focus on lifestyle modifications and behaviors.
And they're preventable too, not only reversible.
Yes, and most of these things are preventable that we see. We see it firsthand, and we do the patient education just like we talked about last podcast episode. But people are still coming for the same reasons. It's the lifestyle, and this is like a legit approach. It's known by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. It's like a legit college, and they're calling this medicine the foundation and the transformed way of a sustainable healthcare system.
Yeah, that's good.
Which makes a lot of sense because once you start going down into the nitty gritty of do we need lifestyle medicine to have a sustainable healthcare system? And the answer is yes, because there's a little statistics from 2017 from the American Diabetes Association. $327 billion was just spent on the diagnosis of diabetes in the United States.
That's a lot of cash.
That's a lot of cash that could be put to different things if everybody was accountable.
Right. Yeah. Things of diabetes where you have two kind of sections of diabetes. You got type 1, which is basically the insulin dependent, the one that you can't really cure. A lot of people are born with it. And you got the type 2, which is completely avoidable. You go along with life and never develop type 2 diabetes. Like, yeah, there are some people that are more genetically prone to diabetes, but those are like the smaller spectrum. Like you said, genetics accounts for a minute percentage of people that get these diseases like diabetes. But yeah, if you just take the initiative and like follow these protocols that we're going, not really, I guess you could call it protocol. These 6 pillars that we will talk about. You could avoid these illnesses in the future.
Yeah, and another little statistic here is 18% of our GDP, which is our income that the government makes, correct?
Gross domestic product. Yeah.
Yes, $3.35 billion or trillion dollars is spent on healthcare, and it's only going to rise. And we need to do something about it. And we kind of talk about this. I feel like we should just go strike in DC or something and get a rally here. But anyway.
I mean, they got the teacher striking right now in CPS. So
yeah.
You never know. Yeah, you've seen a lot of teachers striking like in the past year.
Even when we went to travel nursing to Oakland, the San Francisco nurses or teachers were kind of saying, hey, we need better pay and things. So
yeah, I mean, you got this giant military budget and, all these other budgets that they're going on, and nursing and education and prevention, they kind of get the short end of the stick because education is ultimately prevention. It's education, it prevents you from falling off in life, and it kind of promotes your better success.
Yeah,
and this goes nicely in here. So the six, we say, you want to call them pillars?
We will call them the 6 areas of focus.
Sure. So the six area of focus that we're going to talk about is eating healthily, physical activity, managing stress, avoiding risky substances like alcohol, tobacco, things like that, getting adequate sleep, and also a good, strong support system.
Yes, healthy relationships. So let's dive into nutrition, and it's all about healthful eating, and it's all about more plant-based, some meat. Sorry for the vegans, and we can't take the easy answer for everything and saying, hey, what's the pill that you need to take? What's the supplement that I need to take? Like lifestyle address one of this area of focus focuses on eating good, eating healthy, eating minimally processed foods, and creating that healthy gut brain connection that we talk about that will in return help you with your anxiety, depression, and stabilize your mood.
Exactly. A lot of people are becoming dependent on, like Matt said, like these pills, diet pills, or just vitamins where, you would take a gummy and that will be your vitamins for the day, and the rest of you would eat like shit, McDonald's and all that jazz. But if you really break it down, majority of your nutrients, your vitamins, your minerals, you can get all through your diet. You just gotta pick the correct foods. And let's say eating salmon. So let's say you're vitamin B6 deficient, or B12, I believe. Fish has it.
Yes.
So instead of taking a gummy for that, you're better off eating like the seafood, given that you don't have allergic reactions to seafood, or things like that. Because when you eat the fish, you're not getting just that specific vitamin. You're also getting, protein. You're also getting potassium. You're also getting all these other vitamins and minerals, which are all going to tie together in the long run. So you don't really need to take a diet pill or a vitamin pill to get the vitamin. You can just eat that food, because that wholesome food is going to provide you with that vitamin, and plus all the other stuff that comes along with it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And there is no focus in it, and that's sad, unfortunately. And I remember, just like, for example, when I was younger and I'm like, oh man, it's summer, I want some abs. What do we like grab? We try to take a pill, like a fat burner or something. We're like, okay, well, I'm gonna get abs using this fat burner, but here I am leveling it out by eating crappy or having that late night snack and not getting those lifestyle habits in check to help promote me to get, let's just say, abs or whatever my goals are.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's good you need to get those vitamins, but just because you're taking a multivitamin a day doesn't mean you could neglect getting any other vitamins or minerals that day, because that completely defeats the purpose.
Yeah. Or like, hey, oh, take probiotics. And you take a probiotic, but you're not eating the healthy yogurts. You're not eating like
Greek yogurt,
what is it? Jeez, I'm blanking out here.
kombucha.
Kombucha is a good one. But foods that are fermented to have a natural source of probiotics. We just try to get the pill right away.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to bring in actual whole foods into your diet compared to having a pill. And that way you could explore different options of your food, because you're eating the same chicken and rice and broccoli every week. You're missing out on a lot of vitamins, and plus that is boring. And this way you kind of explore different food options.
Moral of the story is quality over quantity. It matters, right? You are what you eat.
Very true.
Let's go into the next one, which is physical activity. And the goal here is to increase the physical activity. And lifestyle medicine endorsed CDC to recommend that we at least exercise 150 minutes a day. 2 of those days being for a little bit of strength training. And they focus on something called NEAT, which is non-exercise activity time. They want you to increase this time. For example, you parking further, going to the car, you taking the stairs instead of the elevator, and promoting everything to overall improve your fitness and activity.
Right. Yeah, I see myself as a pretty, I guess you could say, athletic, or I like to work out. But some of the things that really piss me off is, parking further away from the door to Walmart or to the grocery store, like for some reason. Like my parents used to always, make fun of me. They're like, "Hey, you go work out for like an hour and a half, but you complain when I park 2 spots over and make you walk extra 20 feet over to the door to the grocery store," which completely makes sense. I make fun of my girlfriend too. I tell her, you do all this CrossFit and working out, but you don't feel like walking a few extra steps to get to the store. But those little changes, they do go a long way. And for me, I believe that everyone is able to at least contribute an hour of working at least 4 days a week instead of the 150. It's give you 240, because you always have an hour extra of time somewhere. You could definitely figure it out. Like, imagine how much times you meant to watch TV, meant to watch an episode, and that episode turns to like four episodes.
Yeah.
That's literally like 3 hours wasted of every time, compared to if you would just watch one less of an episode and then go to the gym. I feel like there's always room for the gym somewhere.
There is, and it doesn't only have to be the gym, because remember, there's women that they don't like going and hitting the weights and going to the gym because they, maybe are struggling with self-esteem or self-consciousness and they don't like going to the gym. Well, you know what? Get a yoga mat, get some free weights. There's freaking push-ups to do, little burpees. There's all these exercises to do without weights. But break a damn sweat, whether it's at home, outside for a run, or just like you said, the gym.
Yeah, exactly. Like Matt said, if you kind of feel a little self conscious about going to the gym, you know how to start to the gym right away. You could just get a jump rope, run a little bit, and then you could slowly ease into going to the gym. Or what helped me getting started with the gym was just getting a friend to go with you, because then it kind of holds you each accountable, and you feel less alone
Yeah.
in the gym. You feel less judged because you have a friend there just in case to back you up if anything. Not that I haven't seen any kind of like fat shaming or anything like that in the gyms that I went to, but I'm sure that goes on, and that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life is like fat shaming somebody that's going to the gym.
I'm actually proud of people that are like super overweight. They go to the gym. I'm like, power to you, man. You're finally kind of stepping up to, what you've been slacking on or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. That's like, making fun of a little kid for going to school to learn how to read. Like, what do you mean where else am I supposed to go to lose this weight? Am I supposed to, sit at home? No, this is the ideal place for me to lose weight is the gym.
Exactly. It's not only made for the buff tools
Right.
that are out there.
That's what I'm saying.
Next one, we're going to talk about managing stress. That's another area of focus. And it's just developing proper coping strategies and eliminating the things in your life that are causing you stress. And we, as a society, when we are super anxious and we're in a huge fight or flight constantly. And what happens is that increases blood pressure, heart rate. It causes like bad variability. So like the heart coherence with like the mind. And what happens is over time, this chronic stress leads to disease that we see in the hospital.
Exactly.
And we have to find out how to cope with it. Like you might tell yourself, oh, I'm fine. I'm not in fight or flight or I'm calm. But in reality, your mind is always racing and you're always not being mindful, let's just say.
Yeah, it's completely true. I feel like a lot of people, they don't manage stress as well as they should. And it's almost like every kind of change or every kind of drift from baseline is a fight or flight response. A good way to do this is kind of, if you're in a stressful environment, just kind of step out and just take a break, maybe do some breathing, and just think about if this is actually worth getting stressed over. Like little changes in your day should not ruin your days.
Yeah.
It shouldn't make you freak out. It shouldn't give you anxiety because, life is life and you experience different things at different times. And a lot of times we don't follow a strict schedule on how our day is going to go. That's impossible. So these little things shouldn't really affect your whole day. Like let's say you're a nurse at work and, you have a Foley that's been full, the bag's full, and the bag popped because the CNA didn't empty it in time. You could have a hissy fit and be pissed off for the next 12 hours of your shift, or you just clean it up, devote that 15 minutes of your time to, clean the floor and clean the urine, and then move on with it. Like, yeah,
and of course, remind that help or
Right.
tech, whatever, like, hey, listen, don't let this happen.
Yeah, you could be upset for a little bit. That's completely fine. It's completely normal. But if you're now upset for the next 10 hours and you're taking it home, and now you're pissed off at your significant other or somebody else, just because of that one thing that happened.
Yeah.
At that time, you should kind of, take a step back, take a deep breath, and kind of figure out what's making you upset. If it's been 10 hours and you're still upset about that Foley, it's a good time to move on.
Yeah, but
Is it really worth your time and worth your stress and your nerves just to keep thinking about that?
But remember, you have to be very self-aware again, right? Because a lot of people don't realize what they're thinking about and how their thoughts are affecting their feelings and behavior and everything else on an emotional level. Like there's an article that I read that showed that, let's just say something happened to you, you got pissed, right? Let's just use that Foley thing. You created a stress response in your body at a physical level that only lasted 3 minutes. Now that passed away. Now what you're doing is if you keep thinking about that Foley bag, you're reactivating the same stress response in your body constantly. So you're technically responsible for your own misery because you keep thinking about it and you're still creating that stressful environment in your body just from your thoughts. Like it's mind blowing.
Yeah, I could have said it any better myself. I was actually legit. Yeah, it's really how it is because that memory of that Foley being burst reminds you of the way you've acted and you were upset and pissed. So your mind's going to automatically be triggered to feel that way again and again and again.
It's like you waking up, like depression. You wake up, and I feel like I talk about this so much, but I love it. It's like you wake up and you had a shitty day yesterday. You were upset about something. You wake up, if that thought pops in your head, you're already creating the same state of stress anxiety, whatever it might be, from reliving that moment mentally. And whatever you're telling your mind, your body's gonna listen to your mind because it's that powerful, and you're gonna be creating the same way. And it's just you gotta unf yourself, man. You gotta break that habit.
It's crazy how that works. It's all connected. But with a stress response, a fight and flight, you get a release of cortisol. So that's good temporarily, but the long term wise, you don't really need to get cortisol nonstop at high doses for every minute and second of the day. So too much cortisol, this leads to impaired cognitive performance, suppress your thyroid function, which is very important for certain hormones, increases your blood sugar because with cortisol, you get a rise in blood sugar because you need energy right now. You get decreased bone density, decreased muscle tissue, you get higher blood pressure. Imagine if you're always stressed, always anxious, and your vessels are always constricted. You're going to get high risk for cardiac disease, high risk for MI. It lowers immune and inflammatory responses. It just slows wound healing because when you're in a fight and flight response, you're running away from that tiger, you're not really worried about the cut in your hand right now.
Yeah, and your sugars are released more in the bloodstream.
Exactly. So that even prolongs wound healing even longer in the future. And also increases abdominal fat. You're also burning glucose, but you're also putting more for storage because you're not sure when the tiger comes back, you're going to need glucose again. So you're kind of already worried about the next step. So you release glucose because you need glucose now, but you're also putting it in your fat storage because you might need it later for that same tiger again.
It's interesting because evolution, basically our bodies were created perfectly with evolution, and they knew what was happening for all this time, right? Which is threat and war. So our bodies are freaking made to survive. And just like you said, that stress could be something little like paying your car bill. Back in the day, that didn't exist. Like this was let's go to war, and it saves freaking abdominal fat. Like I don't know how many thousands of years going to take before we get rid of that mechanism, but it's not going to happen in our lifetime. So in the meantime, guys, because you're listening in 2019 or 2020, you got to freaking manage your stress.
Yeah. And then with the whole thyroid, I know a lot of people are scared, of the x-rays. They do a lot of x-rays, especially when you go to a dentist and things like that. I don't know about you, but for my dentist, every time I do an x-ray, they cover my thyroid.
Yes.
They put that gun on, yeah. Just because issues with the thyroid, they lead to trouble sleeping, constantly tired, fatigued, decrease in concentration, dry skin, depression, sensitivity to cold weather. You might develop Raynaud's because of it, and it's just kind of joint and muscle pain. So thyroid is very important to making you a healthy individual. And cortisol actually causes you to get hypothyroid, which leads to all the stuff that I mentioned. Wow. And you're wondering why you're more fatigued, why you're tired, why you can't really get up in the morning. Maybe you have a deficit in your thyroid. Maybe your T3 and T4 levels aren't really the best, or your TSH isn't where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That might be the cause of of your mood swings, of just like you feeling fatigued and kind of depressed because your thyroids have given you some issues.
That makes complete sense. And a little fun fact for the nursing students here: if you have hypothyroid, the question is, do you have elevated TSH or decreased? Dun, dun, dun. The answer is elevated TSH because your pituitary is getting stimulated to release more thyroid hormone because it's too low. Yeah. Get a little brain quiz there for whoever's driving and doing whatever.
So you said your TSH would be high.
High.
Because your body's making more of it.
Yes.
Because it's trying to...
Your pituitary is trying to stimulate more hormones in the TSH to create the same hormones it would. And then you have to troubleshoot, right? Management. Why are you having hypothyroid? That's where we get into stress or whatever else.
Makes sense.
Geez, we could open up a freaking diagnosing clinic, or get somebody on the show, talk about their disease process and help them like battle with it, get them on in a couple months and see how they're doing. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Kara's, my girlfriend's mom, she's got hypothyroid, but she's all big into fitness and yoga. Because I know if you have a hypothyroid, you're also more prone to getting like abdominal fat and stuff like that.
But as a female, you working out and you doing a lot of physical activity stresses out your hormones too, which could lead to things. You never know. But stress ties directly into the next thing, which is sleep. And if you have stress, you might have insomnia and whatever else. And sleep is the next area of focus. You have to have great amount and adequate sleep. Like there's no way around it. Like poor sleep causes irritability, depression. You could have accidents like med errors, right? Especially for the night shift. And not to mention you might not be thinking as straight and as clear.
Yeah. Sleep is very important. Like I know they say that 6 hours is minimum, right? But I think that's, a little bit inaccurate. Just like, it takes somebody more physical activity to burn the same amount of fat compared to somebody else. It's kind of more on how your genetics are and kind of how you feel. Because there's times where I can get away with 4 hours of sleep and I'll be fine. I feel like a lot of times if I get low amount of sleep one night, I kind of catch up on it the next night. And that's kind of how we usually focus. It's not just a straight easy shot, 6 hours of sleep, you'll be fine. Because there have been times where I couldn't sleep 6 hours. Like I was completely ready to go after 4. So I'm not gonna force myself to sleep extra 2 hours because then you just get kind of like those sleeping hangover where if you sleep too long, you're kind of still tired and still drowsy.
Yeah.
You don't really feel refreshed. So I think that depends on each individual. And I know for night shift, it's especially hard for us because we have opposite schedules. And a lot of times when I get out of work, I don't really feel that tired, especially if I'm night number one. I usually feel real tired after working it, but night number 2 and 3, I go function for a good time, just like a little nap, because I want to burn most of the daylight. But a lot of sleep issues are developed due to night shift because we're completely flipped schedules, and that leads to more stress, poor eating, and less physical activity because you just don't feel like doing stuff.
Yeah. Note to ourselves, I was actually looking up a topic where it talks about sleeping 4 hour increments and getting the 8 or 9 hours and not having a consistent eight, but instead of like flipping between 4, 8 or 5 and like 7. So I wonder if we do an episode about it or find research, I wonder if it's as healthy as sleeping a consistent 7 to 6 hours a day.
I don't know, but the thing is, for me, like, if I think back on myself, do I consistently sleep for 6 hours? I don't. It's usually like 4 or 7. Sometimes it's 8. It just depends. But it's obviously different for us because we do night shift.
Yeah.
But I wonder how people that work the 9 to 5. I wonder if they get like the straight always 6, or do they go like 6.5,
And,
7? And what's a drastic change?
anybody that told me that they switched to working nights today's, they've told me that their life changed. They feel better. They think clear. Even Maureen was a good example. So it's worth it. But it's, of course, the differential is what we kind of are chasing here with nights.
Right. Yeah. Like I'm okay for now. I'm 25 years old. I could probably do it for a couple more years, and then hopefully by then, I'll
You figure something out.
figure something out or extend my career in some sort of way that I could make more or the same amount of money just by being
Yeah.
a day person.
And we have busy schedules. We always feel like there's not enough time in the day. And usually the first thing we grab for is less sleep. And the best self-care, self-love you could do for yourself is getting adequate sleep. And that's the first thing we neglect when we need to do more things. And I know shout out to all the hustlers and everything they do, but you need sleep, guys. And not getting adequate, like it lowers your immune system. You might have a, lower sex drive, and it causes inflammation and imbalance in hormones. So, I mean, there's no way around it. I don't know what else to say about this. Get your damn sleep. Don't freaking use caffeine as like a short circuit to mask those symptoms. Like, listen to your body.
Yeah. Go to sleep, guys. Don't stay awake all the time.
The next one is relationships. Form and maintain healthy ones. And this is like a tricky one because sometimes you're in an environment with, shitty people, and it's hard to get out of that. And you want to make sure your goals are aligned and you guys are like hyping each other up. If you guys are being, negative or putting each other down, like you don't want to be around those people. Like life is too short to be like dwelling with negative Nancy's and those energy vampires that like suck your energy literally dry and you feel soulless to do anything else in life type of thing.
Right. Yeah. If you're trying to like better your life, you're trying to go to school and do these things while your friends are, telling you, hey, come out with us, like you don't got to study, you don't got to do this. Like that's okay to do once in a while. But if it's a consistent thing where you're neglecting your pursuits, like your goals, just to spend time with friends because that's what they expect out of you, then that's not going to do you any good in the long run. It might feel good temporarily, but the next day you're like, damn, I should have not went out. I should have just done this because now now I got to do 4 things instead of doing 2 or 3. And like Matt said, what's going to sacrifice next is going to be sleep. So yeah, you went out, but now you got so much more stuff to do and you got to stay up later. So having a good social circle is very important. And plus, they can make you feel better when like you're down. You had a rough day. It's good to have somebody that'll come cheer you up or willing to take time out of their day to spend time with you, like things like that. It's like you gotta have like symmetry, like synergism. You gotta be there for each other, and you kind of can't neglect somebody for your own needs.
Yeah.
You can't be like a friend comes up to you and says, "Hey, I feel like shit," and you could be like, "Oh, well, I'm kind of busy. It's too bad. I hope you figure it out." It's not how it's gonna work because that's not really your friend. This is kind of like an acquaintance. To be a good friend, you should be there to support them, and then because when you're in that rut, you're gonna need somebody there for you as well. And if you don't have anybody there for you, then once again you get depressed, you get more stressed out, you lack sleep, and it's like a giant negative cascade if you don't have a good support system outside.
And I think episode 2 we covered, or is it episode 2 or 3? The episode is called Limiting Your Social Circle. And me and Peter went in depth to talk about everything when it comes to social circle and even like the toxic personality traits to watch out for with your like friends or relationships.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's not only human relationships, right? Having a pet is a great relationship to form because, as you know, pets are just so lovable, and they actually could. There's a study that shows that it decreases blood pressure, lowers cholesterol levels, so and eliminates the fear of being lonely. So if you feel that way, having a pet could be a great aspect in your life to have a healthy relationship with yourself through the pet in a way.
Right, that's very true. Having a pet can you do so much good. Having a pet allows you to have almost like a friend, but it also makes you responsible because you are responsible for that dog. It does provide happiness because the way you interact, but it also leads you to have increased responsibility. So it's not only a friend, but it's a responsibility because you got to feed that dog, you got to walk that dog, you got to be responsible for that dog's health. The same way that dog can be responsible for your health. If you don't have a lot of friends or you don't have a lot of people to talk to, you get a pet and you could bond with it. You could talk to it. It's not gonna talk back, but it might provide you some kind of it might provide you emotional pleasure and just having something to come home to almost. Because that dog's gonna be home. That dog cannot live without you, and maybe the fact that the dog needs you to survive, that'll make you a better person, more happier person. Like we talk about suicide, maybe it might prevent suicide. Just you have another way of interacting with somebody that means something to you, and the dog. So you mean something to the dog, and the dog means something to you, and that kind of makes people a little happier because
You figured it out.
it's all down to a science, dude.
Yeah. But whatever makes your life happier and more fulfilling and creates a deeper meaning with reduced stress, go for it. Those are the relationships you should cherish. And the hardest part, I don't want to get into it too much with this, but imagine like having a family member or family that's toxic, Don't feel guilty that they're your family. Like you could eliminate those people technically too, or see them less because it's healthy for your well-being. Or if you're going through something in life and your family's not helping you and it's making your, that state of mind worse, take a break from them. Talk to them less. Tell them don't take it personally. I just need time to myself and figure out whatever you're dealing with at that moment before you rekindle those relationships.
Right, exactly. You gotta have a good head on your shoulders before you could kind of help out anybody else. And if toxicity is coming for a family, it's okay to leave. Like, yeah, it's gonna suck. Sometimes your family kind of tries to do like the guilt trip, but try to avoid that. It's only them saying that thing at the time, but you gotta focus on yourself sometimes.
Yeah. The last area of focus is avoiding risky substances. This is very to the point. It's quitting tobacco. We all know it's been well documented that it's unhealthy for us. It's eliminating alcohol consumption. Like we see that everywhere now. Like alcohol, ETOH people are coming in for seizures. Like it's a risky substance. And it could be anything to the heavier duty drugs that people consume. Whatever your habits are, just cut down on it.
Yeah, I mean, heroin now and opioids are a huge epidemic in the United States. And I heard a podcast a little bit ago about benzos and about like Xanax and those kind of drugs where they said they're supposed to help with depression. They might cure depression or they might cure anxiety and do these things. But the guy explained the mechanism of depression, anxiety, and it doesn't fit any of like the cascade reactions that Xanax does. So even though Xanax might mask symptoms of anxiety, it doesn't really treat the anxiety at its core. It just masks them, and it doesn't really help you in the long run. It's just like a temporary band-aid that will help you just mask it. Because whatever pathway Xanax uses has nothing to do with the actual anxiety pathway. So it doesn't have any kind of preventative measures about anxiety. Just masks the symptoms, which is crazy.
So people are not realizing that they're not taking a pill to technically cure their anxiety. They're just taking it to put a nice little band-aid over what they're feeling.
Yeah, just to get rid of it for now. And even if you take it Xanax for a long run, it's not going to do anything because it's a completely different cascade.
Well, I just thought about this right now. Like, wow, we haven't found a pill to cure anxiety or like it's literally masking. I mean, it is symptom management. And that's what a lot of people are not realizing. They're taking Xanax for 5 years, 10 years. And that's cool you're taking it. But, hey, have you realized you haven't coped or managed properly with your anxiety? Like, why don't you go fix that?
Right. Yeah, it's not a cure. It's band-aid. And then, people become dependent on it. And then they always need it. And then plus all the other side effects that comes with it.
Yeah.
So the longer you use Xanax, the more prone you are to its side effects.
Wow. Don't take Xanax.
Wow.
So, closing thoughts here. Lifestyle medicine is the best way to reverse, prevent, and I think it's a huge area of focus if we want to have a sustainable healthcare system with the costs. Yeah. protect your body by eating healthy, get enough sleep, get education on, proper stress management, creating healthy relationships. Treat the underlying cause of your disease, not the symptoms of it. When it comes to diabetes, when it comes to cholesterol, right? Just like taking a statin, you're putting a band-aid on you eating shitty by lowering your cholesterol, but you're still dumping your body with elevated cholesterol. And just, yeah, look at your life, evaluate it, and then pick out those habits that are not working out for you for your longevity.
Yeah, you are in control of your health ultimately, and you got to do things for prevention just so you don't get issues down the road. A lot of these diseases that we see in hospital, like diabetes, things like that, they're completely preventable. Like we said, genetics only account for a minute amount of people who develop diabetes. There's type 1, type 2, but type 2 is preventable. So we believe that if you touch up on these 6 pillars that we went over, healthy eating, good physical activity, good stress management, avoiding risky substances, adequate sleep, and strong support system, I believe you would be an overall healthy individual and maybe even get rid of your diabetes or get rid of all the other issues you're having in life.
Yeah, drill them, PD. Drill them. This summarizes episode 30.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for listening, whoever did. Why don't you guys interact with us? Show us who you are, those people that are listening on the other side of this microphone. Give us a shout out on Instagram or something, or on the Facebook group that we have to kind of promote more a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, and don't forget to follow Matt on his travel nursing experience. We also got a travel nursing checklist that Matt used in detail.
Yeah.
Follow each step to get himself going for this.
I should promote it like that.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. Have a great day. See you guys next week.
Have a good one. Peace out.